Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. This is the Fall of Oriath beta, and we find ourselves in Doriani's laboratory. At least for the beta, the location where we can access the mapping device. I am currently level 61, so I'm 7 levels below the level of even a tier 1 map. But we're gonna run it anyway, because this seems to be the most efficient way to level up, and also the least tedious way. There's only so many times that you can keep running the same 2 level 54 areas or the 1 level 55 area until you have enough of it. So, running maps, I am capped on resists, exception of chaos, which is a negative 36. But I've rolled a map, reduced extra damage taken from crits on the monsters. I'm not a crit build, so that's okay. That's basically free quantity. 25% less effect of curses on monsters. I do run Arctic armour for defenses and temporal change on Blasphemy. But 25% less effect means they'll be 30% slower rather than 40% slower. So that's alright. I think that's going to be alright. So it's Jungle Valley, so that means we will have a spider boss with negative chaos resistances. Maybe not the best idea in the world, but then again,
shroud the world in darkness.
This is standard. I can try a couple more exotic things, take a little bit more risks than I might take on hardcore. And most of the spider bosses and things, they're not pure chaos, they're more physical plus chaos. So I do have a setup that can boost my armor quite a bit here. The life spikes quite a bit, but well, we do have life gain on hit on melee splash to keep our life in a pretty decent shape. So having some goats in the back, they do some damage. They do quite some damage. So yeah, low level or underleveled mapping is by definition more or less just slow and steady. Eventually gets you to the boss. It's not going to be the fastest way to level, but it is fun. Let's see, cast damage taken, it's currently at 1500, I'm at not there yet. So I think I'll actually keep those skills where they are. I think I need to get a little bit more life before I upgrade my cast damage taken. Okay. And then we can just push forward. So a map like the Jungle Valley, in the past you would always weave from one end to the other and mostly get it right. Now of course thanks to the minimap changes we should be able to get it even better cleared, because the map now actually tracks where we have and haven't been, rather than needing to rely on memory and just visually gauging the distance. Ooh, superior Ancestral Warchief. I like it. That means we can level it offhand or in our weapon switch and then just upgrade to it afterwards. Another fun detail, of course, of being underleveled is that, well, your damage output is going to be significantly lower than the life of mobs. But on the other hand, that never really bothered me in the first place. You can't one-hit monkeys, but on the other hand, I got a pretty decent AoE attack here with melee splash on puncture. That's alright. Got ourselves a new map to replace this one, so that is good. So DGG has finally confirmed that new support gems are going to come to the beta, I think somewhere this week. They haven't pinned themselves down on a specific date, but it will be soonish. And they are the gems that we need to support the damage over time damage that we're doing. Because right now we don't really have a lot of ways to scale damage over time. We basically we have adding the chaos damage support gem. We have faster attacks, and we have void manipulation. Ooh, did I see a breach there? Yeah. We have void manipulation and we have rapid decay as things to link, but other than that we don't really have other support gems that really help us a lot. So getting access to some of the new support gems is definitely gonna add a lot of power to it, and from the looks of it there were some that actually scaled both your attack as well as your damage over time instead of only supporting one or the other. So of course that way you get to actually do some damage, do some life leech, and then have some damage over time afterwards. Hydro scale, I think that is my thing right now. And we have a breach. Breaches have a 10% chance to spawn in maps. Wow. Okay, so even being surrounded like this, just attacking lots of targets around you, you can do some serious life gain with melee splash and life gain on hit. That's something I didn't expect to be that powerful or yeah, this scalable. Because you see how scary that life is spiking. And leech is a slow recovery mechanic compared to instant life gain on hit. But it is nice to combine both of them. Let's just clear the area a little bit before we open up a breach. Breach is gonna be maybe not the best choice of best thing to open, but hey, if you're gonna get a breach, you open it. Especially on standard. On hardcore, I'd be even less inclined to do it because you will be exposing yourself to a pretty large torrent of enemies. But well, sometimes you gotta take risks. Of course, lots of things to kill means a lot of experience to gain. Okay, that one was eventually gonna die due to poison. And I think I'm just pushing far enough away from the breach that we ought to be alright. Okay, you folks are gonna be the last ones we kill before we head back. Okay, another one over there. And of course, there you got even more cousins coming in. Goats. There are always more of them. Oh, speaking of, there were even a couple back here. Spirit as my blood. Hey, that's a useful one. Okay, so the loot and such, we'll just have a look at that later. Okay, let's do this. Low breach. Oh, of course, we have the boxes. I can't hide loot. Oh, Ash. Okay. No. Yeah. Okay. So, note to self. Don't get greedy. Going after the class 10 instead of just focusing on staying alive. It's gonna kill you. And now that we are here anyway, might as well just empty my pockets in the storage box. Go back to Doyanis. Recast auras. So I went with Arctic Armor instead of Herald of Ash. They both reserve 25%. Arctic Armor gives you 10% physical damage reduction if you're standing still, as well as some fire damage reduction. So it's just another means of helping you tank damage. And well, because most enemies, they do deal just regular physical damage as their default. Oh, we got a decent amount of armor, but if you have physical damage mitigation on top of that from different sources, it's all just gonna stack and it's gonna help you stay safe and stay alive, most importantly. I think the breach probably timed out. As well, those things do have a timer. So you die, you lose your breach. That's kind of how it works. Oh yeah, we had a Keepers of the Trove here. They dropped tornado wands in this case. How many tornado wands are there? All of the tornado wands. I'll just drop that one. Infernal Sword, that's a 67. We got a Reaver Sword, that's a 59. It's gonna be maybe better than this one. On the other hand, slowly getting into the higher tier stuff. It's difficult judgment call whether to actually upgrade to some mid tier items or whether to just wait and go for the top tier items. Of course, this is all beta specific, because after the beta, we're just gonna have a normal leveling curve, and then by the time you finish the entire story, you will be ready for maps. Higher scale. Yeah. I figured it's not often that we get to do a underleveled mapping run, especially not for me. Since I tend to go for maps pretty late, once I'm reasonably geared up, once I'm reasonably prepared, once I'm reasonably overleveled. Okay, and that is that. Okay, lots and lots of goats. Let's just jump into the middle here and just keep puncturing them. By default, unskilled poison, it's slow acting, damage is, it's a nice little bonus. I think if you keep stacking it, you get to about 25 or 30% extra damage. But it's just slow. So with the new support gems, that's definitely when I want to see if I can go for a low initial damage, a high damage over time build. That preferably doesn't have to wait 30 seconds to kill a white mob, because that would kind of ruin the fun. Okay, that's pretty well, pretty okay. One of the nice things of getting the Merciless Labyrinth under your belt with this character would be to get melee splash on both Viper Strike and Puncture. So then you can just alternate between both of them and just keep attacking things. Now drop melee splash on Puncture for a poison gem or something, and then both of them will be applying poison as well as Viper Strike benefiting from the bleeding damage that gets inflicted. But normal monsters remain, so I'm assuming that means the boss doesn't count as being on the map, because it will of course spawn once we go in here. Viper Strike, yeah, that's maybe not the greatest idea for me. Some poison charges here. Right, one of the things, of course, as a cruel leveled up Slayer, I am immune to bleeding, so I have a poison removal on my flask here. But against this many spiders, getting chaos resistance, it's gonna help, especially if you're underleveled by this much. Getting chaos resistance is gonna be pretty glorious. Also, if you're now doing the underleveled leveling thing on standard, obviously, putting down some waypoint or some town portals along the way might not be a bad idea either. It's that's a funny thing. If you're used to playing hardcore, then putting down portals for respawn is something that you don't build a habit out of. But if you're then playing standard, it is very useful to actually have those totems. Because if you're gonna die and maybe die again, But not having to walk very far is rather useful. So let's put that one down. Put some auras up. Temple Tincture. Okay, and then let's go in again. Okay, there's enough little spiders to kill to at least make our flasks regenerate pretty well. And just generate a little bit of damage over time here. Just gonna go for some poison. Just keep the things up. Keep the bleeding up. Keep the charges up. Don't forget to keep your flasks up. I'm generally not someone who's pretty good at flask management. In this case, having both of the Jade Flask as well as the Stigmite Flask up, it basically gives us a huge amount of armor, which helps with at least the physical portion of all the attacks. The chaos portion, Amethyst Flask would be helpful. And I think, given how stable my mana is, replacing the Mana Flask with a Amethyst Flask at this point is gonna be pretty nice. So you don't really need it. In this case, once you do get your feel for the fight, once you get your rotation down, eventually the boss is gonna start to take some damage as well. And all the little spiders, they're simply a source of life gain. Once you get enough poison stacked, yeah, yes, yeah, that's correct. Every once in a while, just removing it does help with to keep your regen up. And the Queen of the Great Tangle, she's nearly dead, and there she is. And then don't get killed by the stray spiders. Okay, come on spiders, at some point I'm kinda done with you. Yes. What is dead should simply stay dead. But there you have it, Jungle Valley map as a level 61 character. Not entirely sure if I ended up with more or less XP than I started it with. The level difference combined with my negative chaos resistance definitely make this a boss that you might not want to start with. It hurts a little bit more than it normally does if you're, let's say, 10 levels higher, because then you can just mow through it and you have a little bit more life. Even if your resists are not as good, you just have a little bit more options of recovery and a little bit better of a buffer. But as you saw, in the end, if you manage to get your rhythm down, I stayed alive in the final portion of the fight because I focused on the correct things. So yeah, there you have it. A map, a bit underleveled, and this is at least the not boring way to just get some gear, get some upgrades, and just have a good time. Because this is, for me at least, it's a rare treat to just do silly things like running maps 7 levels below what they're supposed to be. Because normally I play on hardcore. So with that, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.